Survivor's win rate revealed, and Netties may have told us that maps are not completely random when playing Identity 5. For more news like this, stick around for this week's episode of This Week in Identity 5. Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Identity 5, guys. Let's have a look at what we got last week, and then we can talk about what's coming in the future. So first of all, we got last week the costume and accessory function limit increased from 3 to 5 daily, so meaning that you can share up to 5 times daily costumes, but they also added the accessory feature where you can now share 5 accessories too. So this is of course a logical addition for them to add to the game. They adjusted the character ban BP mode in customs, but I'm not really sure what that means. So I'm assuming it's when the character ban mode is a bit of a confusing one. I don't completely understand the rules for it, but they've adjusted how it works, but I need to test that one out. If you want to be able to hide your dish, I guess especially if you are the hunter, well, now you can hide your dish in the lobby by going to the settings of the actual dishes and clicking on the hide dishes setting. This means that people won't know who you are when you're sharing the dish. Flywheel effect got a considerable buff, not in its actual effect, but where you can place it. A lot of people were complaining originally that Flywheel effect's button was really small and also located in a really bad place, so it was really difficult to press. I agree with that completely. So now they've adjusted it so you can move it to any position that you want within reason, so it's a little bit easier for you to press it when you need to. Geisha's dash hit logic has been adjusted when she flies through Ento's bees. I haven't seen the effects of this, but I guess it will either make it so she goes slower or faster through the bees. I'm not completely sure. If you're buying multiple potions, I think it's only in tarot, but that this effect has been added to though, I'm not completely sure. But if you get multiple potions of the same type all in one go, so you're buying them in bulk instead of buying them individually, well now they'll be displayed together, so you don't have to press one, then press again, then press again, then press again. All of the levels will be bought together. And of course, last week we got the IVT, that is a tournament for NAEU, and this is really fun to watch. It's good to see how the meta is changing up. A lot of the same characters are being played, the same hunters, the same survivors. That is a little bit of a shame, but I think that with this coming adjustment that is coming incredibly soon, we're going to see a pretty big shake-up, I think, in what is considered to be meta, or at least maybe some characters changing from mid-meta to being low meta, and others going from low meta to mid-meta too. Let's talk about what we're going to get this week. Well, one of the biggest things, and I think this is probably the biggest thing that's coming this week, is a ton of character adjustments. And this is something that I'm really excited for because I would love to see the effects all of these characters when they get changed and see how matches change because of this. I'm not going to talk in depth about each character's adjustment because I have talked about those in previous videos before, and if you go over to my Black Phoenix Plus channel, I do have a goal of maybe releasing some videos this week on some of the adjustments and their effects, like I have done with Wax Artist on this channel with a shorts video. Make sure you go over to the Black Phoenix Plus channel if you want to go and check out that kind of stuff. So Wax Artist is getting adjusted. Now he's getting a ton of adjustments, increasing his fire rate, increasing the effects of his wax, meaning that they now slow, making it so that the heated wax doesn't go up on survivors on its own, but he can turn it off and increase and kind of shorten the cooldown of it technically. Evil Reptilian is getting a minor adjustment to his energy, so now when he jumps, for the first jump he will use less energy, and then for the second and third jump it will just be the normal stuff. So this is something that he kind of needed, but still I feel like they should just remove the energy altogether. I'm not completely sure why they haven't done that yet. Clerk is getting an adjustment, and people corrected me on previous videos. Clerk is actually getting a shortened time for her aerial view when she's looking at a cipher machine. Well, this is, I think, a good adjustment. I'm not completely sure how necessary this was, but Clerk does seem to be on the stronger end of, she's like an A tier, and I think she can be quite oppressive against certain team compositions. Ripper is getting an adjustment to how his Foggy Blaze interact with Ento bees. They will now kind of destroy the bees if he does the double hit with the Foggy and the normal hit, and also his hitbox has been adjusted, like how long his attack lasts for and recovery and stuff like that has been adjusted. Dream Witch can now go through portals, not global portals, but can go through long portals and will get a mini stun. And the time to adjust the leeches and to take them off has been adjusted as well, depending on how many survivors left. Barmaid is getting a shorter time for her to heal, so she can heal faster. And now she's losing her debuff when she drinks her drinks. Gardener is getting an on and off switch for her bubble that I think is something that is really, really necessary, but she's getting a couple of adjustments to her bubble to make it have a longer cooldown and so on like that to kind of adjust for that. Gravekeeper is going to be able to cancel each of his shovels and maybe retain some of that time that he has of the shovel left. Whipping Clown is getting a longer stun on his rocket and also is buffing the speed of survivors hit by the explosion for a little bit longer. 2.5 is the key word you need to learn there. First Officer is getting a decoding buff. Every time he uses the watch, he gets a 7% buff, and after that he'll up to a maximum of 14. Little Girl is getting a little bit of an adjustment where if she cancels her teleport, then she'll be revealed to the hunter for 5 seconds. Batter is getting a heavy nerf where his pushback ability is not going to be as good, and a couple of other adjustments too. Postman's letters have been adjusted so that they now have a limit for how long they will last for, at least for the escape one that lets you escape through dungeon and also increase your exit gate opening time, and a couple of other things to his dog too. Forward is getting a tiny bit of a change where his minimum stun is a little bit shorter. Priestess's nerf is okay, where it shortens the time by 10% for stuns for hunters when they go through a long portal. Novelist is getting different tiers of how long it will take him to be inspired by the hunter, depending on how many times he's been inspired by the hunter. So if he does it one time, it will be longer the second time. If he does it the second time, it will be longer the third time. Magician is losing his infinite ability to be able to be invisible when after being rescued. He'll only get that once per match. And I think those are all the adjustments for all the characters. Persona webs are also getting adjusted. Rage and Desperate Fight, that are hunter persona webs that shorten stun times, are now also going to work against Novelist's controlling ability and also Professor's stun with the pushback. As I said, Professor's one made sense, and I'm surprised that wasn't the case in the first place. Novelist's one is a bit of a pain, but I've heard from some people that there's a pretty toxic combo in China right now with Novelist. I can kind of understand why this is the case. Hunt has also got an improved logic that is once again another hunter persona web trait. This means that it will be a little bit better at not failing and giving you that speed boost after you've been chasing the survivor for quite a long time. And the confinement persona web trait that is a hunter one as well, that blocks a cipher machine at the beginning of the match, will now make it a little bit easier for survivors to know which cipher machine was blocked, because they'll be able to see it from a distance through walls, at least to a certain distance. This week we're also getting the link click crossover, or at least that's according to the posters, the official posters, where we're getting the Cheng Chaoshi and Lu Guang skins that are A-tier skins that will cost 1,388 echoes in the store. You won't be able to purchase those with fragments, it's echoes only. That is a one skin actually, sorry, for Wu Chang. They're not two characters, they're one skin for one character. And we're also getting the A-tier accessory called Time Camera for 1,068 echoes. That I've watched the whole anime, at least the first season, because the second season isn't out yet. And the time camera is a made-up thing by NetEase. I'm slightly disappointed in NetEase for making an accessory that has nothing to do, or doesn't actually exist in the anime. They're just doing it to be able to sell something. I feel like they could have just added those effects to the skin or made something that's actually more relevant to the anime, but I guess everybody else has their own opinions about that. You can also buy this character and this accessory together in a special package called the Light Times Latest Mission for 1,968 echoes. That is discounted from the, technically it would be 2,300 and something, or 2,400 that it would have been if they purchased them all together. Along with the link click crossover, we're also getting a crossover event for people who do not want to spend money, where we'll be able to participate in the event to receive a specific portrait, or two portraits, one of Cheng and one of Lu Guang. And we'll also be able to receive a portrait frame and an emote, I think for Wu Chang. And I really, really hope that it's going to be one where they kind of clap hands or something like that. But let's just hope. Let's just cross our fingers. The anniversary is coming soon, so this week we're also getting, along with the crossover, we're getting another event called the Anniversary Warmup event, where by completing tasks we'll be able to get an event portrait that is a picture of Lucky Guy holding onto some butterflies as if they were balloons. And on the 4th of July, we'll be getting Magician's Character Days, so that will be giving us the usual things that we get on Character Days. Let's talk about what we're going to get in the future with some leaks and some rumors. Well, there are some rumors that Antiquarian, the new survivor that was announced to us by NetEase quite a while ago now, is set to come out mid next season, so most people are expecting the second essence of the next next season, because of course they still haven't revealed her abilities yet, and they usually do more promotional stuff before the character is released. So unless they do some more promotional stuff this week for her, we should expect her in the second essence of next season. And that means that Hermit is coming much later, probably the following season. So that means 2 seasons away, but maybe they'll come together but there are some rumors that he will be coming later. Gravekeeper's Logic Path skin was revealed to us, and it's a very, very nice skin indeed for the next season. Of course, we have seen his accessory. That is a weird looking accessory. I'm not really sure if I like it. And his portrait and portrait frame were also revealed for the next Logic Path. So make sure you guys get ready and get those dice, because it's coming to the end of the season now, so you need to save up 100. The rank accessories for next season were correct in their rumors, because of course we are getting a Fiery Chalice appearance thing for Gravekeeper, we're getting a Poison Pen accessory for Nightmare, and a Cryptograph thingamajiggy for Novelist, and they look really cool. I would love to see what Gravekeeper's effects are going to be. Is he going to be on fire when he's underground? NetEase did some Q&As and we got a little bit of information, and some of the most important information we've had from NetEase in a while, but I've been asking for, although I was a little bit disappointed by the lack of information they gave us within the questions. But it's possible that we'll be getting a Hunter Persona web trait coming in the future that might influence Survivor's speed boost duration. And by this, I'm not completely sure if they meant the duration after you hit them, because we of course have Wither, but maybe it would be nice to be able to affect the speed boost of like broken windows and stuff like that, but we have yet to see, because there are lots of characters that can just zoom around and hunters cannot do anything about that. So maybe investing lots of points into something that affects that would be very, very impactful, but also would be a little bit of a trade-off, because you'd have to take points away from something else. Tinnitus and Exit Path might be becoming base kit, but that is probably going to come much later, as NetEase explains that Flywheel effect took them quite a long time to do. So because of that, I'm assuming that they are a little bit, it will take them a lot of time for them to design a replacement for these things if these become base kits. So we probably won't expect those until what, end of this year, next year? Knowing NetEase, maybe not even at all, especially since we didn't get the cold ticket ability or the cold stare ability yet, and I'm pretty sure that NetEase has just scrapped that idea completely. This part here was something that I looked at this morning, and I've had to take a lot of thinking about it, and I expect to do a video about this relatively soon. They just released the Survivor win rate, so a lot of people were considering that this game was Survivor-sided, but NetEase is trying to say that this is not the case. But the information they gave does not tell the full story and seems severely lacking if this is what they're balancing the game with. This is pretty bad information, NetEase, if this is what you're only looking at. They say if you are above tier 7, the average win rate for survivors in tier 7 plus is 27%. They tie 29% of the time and they lose 44% of the time, meaning that hunters are winning 44% of the time and tying 29% of the time. And all high points games, so I don't know what that includes, I'm assuming other tiers that are close to 7, survivors are winning 26% of the time, having a tie of 28% of the time, and losing 46% of the time. So why do I not like this information? This does not give the full story. This does not tell us what the difference is between voice comm teams and non-voice comm teams. I would like to see that as well. I would also like to see how much information they have on how many Cypher machines are left after the first rescue within a certain tier level. I would say above Griffin. I would like to see how many Cypher machines are left after the first rescue and how long it takes for the first rescue to happen, and maybe even how many Cypher machines are left when the first survivor is put on a chair. I would also like to see the disparity between characters to see what their win rates are and other things like this. I have got to think a little bit more about this information, and when I put this video together, I will have a really good think about it and possibly ask some other people for their opinions so I can get a proper video prepared for it, because I think this is a very important topic and I think a lot of people are going to skip over this information. NetEase has also revealed possibly that maps actually have a certain logic to them when they spawn. A lot of people say, oh, I keep on getting this map, I keep on getting this map. Well, NetEase says, well, first of all, no, everything is random. But it's not completely random, because depending on your tier, you'll get maps more often. Some hunters and some survivors just hate going on certain maps, and they keep on giving us those maps. For example, Arms Factory just seems to appear all the time. I would love to be able to play more on Chinatown and stuff like that. Rumors of Darkwoods coming to rank may completely be thrown out the window because Darkwoods is apparently going to be adjusted this year. So maybe they'll be coming later on to rank, but I would love to see Darkwoods get readjusted because it's been really bad for such a long time. I love that map to bits, but it's really unbalanced and it has really bad areas to it. I wish they could just look at the stats and improve on it, and I'm sure that that's what they're working on. Oh, and if you were wondering how matchmaking works, well, NetEase has kind of given us an inkling into how it works. Well, it's not your XP or even your win rate that depends on which characters you'll be going against, which players you'll be going against. Instead, it is your rank points. And I'm not completely sure what that means, if that is your points for a certain character. Maybe if you have lots of matches won, you get, your average points for all your characters combined will give you a certain level of rank points. Or maybe it's a special thing that's behind the scenes called an MMR that is your kind of value or invisible value to how powerful you are as a character, as a player, and they'll try and match you with people with a similar MMR as you. That raises the question of how good is this system, and does it take into context that survivors can also be carried up whilst hunters don't usually get carried because nobody can carry them. How do you think that NetEase will readjust Darkwoods to make it into a more balanced map? What things would you change about it if you could? Tell me down in the comments below, and whilst you're down there, remember to like and subscribe, and check out my recent video on VHS because Video Horror Society is a really, really cool game. Have an amazing day, guys. Bye bye.